I'm sick. Now that both the alpha and the beta have come and gone, I feel like it's safe to talk about a bunch of things. The ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and specifically today, the characters I most want to see. Not just characters, but heroes. I do have a list here in front of me of 10 heroes, not bad guys, let's put it that way, 10 non-bad guys that I would love to see in the game, along with some honorable mentions and some characters that I would have wanted to see, but probably just could not work in a video game. So I'm going to be going through all 10 of these. I'm going to do my best to provide, you know, why I want them in the game, what abilities I think they should have, what kind of ults I think they should have, and then what class I think they should be. I would also like to preface that this is not in any specific order. I think I tried to put it in a specific order of like least to most want in the game, but I didn't really end up doing that. Starting off with some honorable mentions. These are literally just, there's two sides in this honorable mentions list. One side being people that could easily be tanks, like nothing needed to, no explanation needed, could be a tank. I didn't put them on my top 10 list because again, they could just be tanks and I don't really care. You know, you could throw them in. Anyways, those specific people are Colossus, Beast, Luke Cage, and I think you could throw Cable in there as well. Pretty self-explanatory. Big bodies, simple abilities. You know, could be tanks. And then other honorable mentions, these are people who I personally really like as characters and would love to see them in the game, but I couldn't put them past the people I put on my top 10 list. So those people would be Daredevil, Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, Cyclops, Rogue, Elektra. I think that's it. Yeah, I feel like all of those are pretty self-explanatory. I just feel like some of those would get repetitive. The only one that I don't think would get repetitive would be like Shang-Chi, or maybe Rogue, but overall, you know, characters that you could put in there, but I would rather put these other people in here. And then other honorable mentions, specifically, these are characters that I would have loved to see in the game, but I think from a video game standpoint, there's just no way to make do their abilities justice and put them in a multiplayer game like this. I think a lot of these people you could hardly do in a single player game, let alone a multiplayer game where, you know, competitiveness matters and having the competitive edge matters. Those characters would be Ant-Man or Giant Man, Nightcrawler, Quicksilver, Kitty Pryde, Domino, and Morph. Domino's on this list because she's cool and she kind of would have been easy to do, but it's already hard to portray luck, so I don't know how you do that in a video game. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty, the top 10 list of characters I would love to see. I'm gonna say I would love to see because I don't necessarily need to see these people. Some of these people I feel like we would get, but a lot of these people I just think these are characters I think are cool, slightly underappreciated, and now that we finally have a good Marvel video game with potential to put in any character for the most part, these are characters I would like to discuss and talk about and bring to the table, bring to the conversation for being in the game. So at number 10 we have Nova. It doesn't matter which one, just Nova. Pretty self-explanatory, I feel like. Obviously would be a duelist, not gonna be a healer, not gonna be a tank. Quick, on the smaller side size wise. The way I thought about this character when I was typing this list out was Nova would simply be Iron Man, but trade out damage for movement. I think I feel like they're kind of playing it safe on the flying side. Right now you've got Iron Man and Storm, and Iron Man just kind of, and Storm just kind of. My idea for Nova, just a really cool character, just kind of uses energy blast, whatever. Pretty simple though, right? So I think attack wise it would be super simple, just shooting his energy blasts. But then again I think you trade damage for agility and movement. So I think whereas Iron Man he does a lot of damage, especially now with his buff, but his movement isn't quite there and he's very easy to shoot down. I think Nova could be similar to Spider-Man in the aspect that he'll do less damage, but he's really quick and can fly. So, you know, can do not as much damage, but is a lot harder to hit. Unless you have Shroud-like aim, you're not gonna, you know, melt him with Punisher like you would Iron Man. You know what I mean? Basically just an Iron Man who moves quicker and does less damage. At number 9, I have Silver Surfer. I have him, I don't know how people would feel about this. I have him at a support. But I have him on this list as a support. I think he would be cool. I think it'd be cool to be able to fly around and move quickly as a support. Now, I'm kind of in the same vein as Nova. I have him just similar to another character. I have him similar to Luna Snow, but again, he's able to fly. I think the surfboard would be a really cool utility, not only for movement, but also as, you know, defense. I think it'd be cool to allow him to use it not as necessarily shield, but depending on how you're flying, like a shield. Similar to Jeff spitting water, I think he should be able to use the power cosmic, just kind of shooting it in a straight line at somebody to provide them heals. In the same vein as Jeff, kind of being able to spitfire the power cosmic to do damage. On top of that, I think one of his abilities, actually I think his ult would be cool to have. He activates his ult and it basically grants him instant immunity, so he's just not taking damage, and at the same time, maybe not so much immunity, but he is just regenerating health at, you know, a Luna Snow level rate while on his surfboard. And the surfboard has a kind of area of effect that does healing, so it's basically very quick, very mobile healing station. I don't think he would be much more past a support. So moving on, we're gonna go to number 8. At number 8, I have the man, the myth, the mouth, Deadpool. I mean, he's Deadpool. I don't think he's been leaked or confirmed or anything for this game, but again, he's Deadpool. Like, his popularity alone will probably sneak him into the game. Again, I have him as a duelist. Some notes I took, I pretty much just said that he's, you know, I mean, he's Deadpool. He's a duelist. He's gonna mink a duelist, but you have to incorporate regeneration somehow. So rather than needing healing, one of his abilities could be regeneration, in the sense that, you know, you use whatever ability, and instead of having to be healed, you're automatically healing yourself for a short, we'll say, you know, 15 seconds, a short duration of time. I think that's a super easy ability, and it just makes sense for the character of Deadpool. Your right click is deagles, pistols, and then your left click melee katanas. I think it'd be really cool. You could have a really cool animation when you're switching between the two, and it's Deadpool. You could throw it, you get a Bond voice actor, get Nolan North, and just, you know, have him quip, just say funny stuff, let him cuss, you know what I mean? Some of these I kind of cooked. Okay, I'm gonna get on a high horse here and say that I cooked with some abilities for some of these people. So I think Deadpool is one of those people. For Deadpool's ult, I would say for his ult, he has to break the fourth wall in some aspect. So my idea for this was that you know, okay, you're Deadpool, you ult, we'll just say it has a big circle area of effect, and whoever's in the area of effect is going to take whatever damage. They're going to take a certain amount of damage, but instead of just, you know, doing the Spider-Man circle, or, you know, whatever the case may be, he can teleport in the movies, he can teleport in games. He basically teleports out, so he's off screen. So he teleports out of the match, in a sense, out of the match, off screen, so basically giving him immunity, because if you can't see him, you can't hit him. And or out of game, I should say, rather. And then I think it would be cool if he basically pops up on the enemy screen in like a 2D format and just kind of pushes their health bar down, in a sense. Deadpool had to go on the list, obviously, but moving on to number 7, we have Black Bolt. Personally, I would just put him at a tank. I think an interesting thing about this game is that one of the things you can choose to do with a lot of these characters, almost every single one of these characters, is Literally, you can put him at duelist, support, or tank. And then, you know, it literally just depends on the character model. Thor, for example, could have been a duelist, but they just beefed that boy up and said, you know, we'll put him at tank. I think character model wise, you just beef Black Bolt up, boom, he's a tank. I said one of his abilities, pretty self-explanatory. I think he should be able to use his voice for like a stun, which I think would be really cool. Is he just enemy for like 3 seconds or whatever, but some sort of stun in that regard. I also think he, like most tanks, could have a shield using his electron antenna, just kind of creating an electron force field type thing. And then for his ult, same kind of stun ability with his voice, but obviously he just screams super loud, and then it just does a frick ton of damage. And you know, if it's not gonna kill him, then it stuns him. Like if it's a berserk Hulk, then he'll obviously get stunned and just kind of whoa. Moving on to number 6, another tank that I don't think is in enough media other than comics and the one movie, technically, the Black Knight. I would put him at a tank, and the way I thought about it was basically magic, but a tank. And the abilities are fairly simple. You know, you swing the sword, you throw the sword. You use the sword to block. You know what I mean? It's just an Elden Ring playthrough, but Marvel rivals in your Black Knight. In the comics, the user of the Ebony Blade actually goes crazy the more blood that the sword draws. So I think it would be cool to, you know, the more damage you do, your ult, you can use your ult based off how much damage you do. So your ult is built up by the damage you do and is boosted by the damage you do, but your ult is basically that blood rage. It's basically that berserker rage. So fairly simple, and then you use it and you just get a damage boost, maybe a speed boost, whatever the case may be, but you just kind of. Moving on to number 5, we have now, I would say, a fan favorite. I think he was a little underrated before, but now people are starting to hop on the train. That is Gambit. Another one that, in my opinion, is just easy. I personally would put him at duelist. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. But another one that's just easy. You abilities, you ranged attack, just throwing cards, shing 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 shing. Not only is that super easy to do, but it's a super cool ability that would be fun to play. And then you have the staff for melee. It's just perfect. And then on top of this, I think your ult, which I couldn't really decide if this would be a good ult, but just the idea of an ult or infinite team up abilities, which is just the kinetic energy. I mean, I like the idea of having a character like Gambit in there who can team up with anyone, in the sense that maybe that is his ult. Maybe he doesn't have a team up ability with Wolverine or Storm or whatever the case may be, but his ult is being able to team up with anybody and infuse them or their weapons with kinetic energy. You know what I mean? Just a super easy character to put in there. You know, of all people on this list, maybe Deadpool. I'm hoping and thinking that he will end up in the game at some point. Gambit is up there and stuck there for people I would love to see in this game. There's 10 more minutes, okay? I'm sorry, all right? I didn't realize I was this much of a yapper. I mean, come on. Shut the hell up every once in a while, you know what I'm saying? If you want to see part 2, my top 5 characters that I would put, please let me know in the comments. I will upload it, edit it, have it ready to go, because let's be real, it's going to be uploaded either way. There's going to be 2 people comment on this video. It's just going to be this emoji. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see part 2, let me know. I will put it up, and goodbye. I don't know why I talk so damn much. Come on.